What's up, everybody? Wolf of Walmart. We're back. We're back, baby, again.
Not a bad fish right there, guys.
No.
Out here catching Folsom bass right now, dude. Woo, he's a little chunker.
What up, what up, what up? 'Tis I again, Dave Erkey, your host here at The Whole Angler. And I just wanted to say thank you to the new partnership that we have with LMNT. Stay salty. If you guys are looking to refresh yourself out on the water, electrolytes is the way to do it. You can drink water all day long, and yes, you will feel refreshed, but to add a packet of electrolytes to that water will just change the game for you. It's sodium, magnesium, and potassium. That's it. There's no sugars, there's no dyes, nothing fancy, all natural products. It will snap your head back into the game, especially on those hot days, because summer is coming. So other than that, I don't have much housekeeping today. I just want to say thank you to this guest for coming on. I really appreciate it. It was a shot in the dark. I texted him and he was like, who is this? Because he gave me his number. I won like a photo competition a while back, and I just kind of held on to it for stuff like this. And I just want to say that I really appreciate him coming on, and he just left the queue. I think he's mad. Just kidding. Trying to get him back in here real quick, see what happens. Other than that, also congratulations to Justin Dutcher on the latest Yakabas, dude. That was awesome win. That was an awesome win, dude. Congratulations, bud. And can't wait to see you come back to the shop again. That's going to be super awesome. Other than that, without any further ado, I bring to you Sir Frank Scalish.
What's up?
I don't have any. What's up, man? I don't have any applause or anything fancy. As you can see, it's a garage operation.
I'm digging it, man. I'm digging it. That's
Yeah,
all
dude.
right.
Again, thank you for coming on, dude. I know you were like, who is this texting me right now?
No. Actually, when you said the Wolf of Walmart, I knew exactly.
Oh, okay. You're like, oh yeah, this Yahoo.
We're good.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. So thanks for coming on, dude.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. It's qualified now. There we go.
Yeah.
Had to turn the light down a little bit. It was blinding me.
Yep, I get it. Are you using a ring light, or are you using like an actual overhead light?
No, it's a ring light.
Okay, yeah. I use my wife's ring light, and that's why you'll see a ring in these wonderful glasses all the time.
Oh yeah, now that you mentioned it, I can see it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do this so it looks like I have bifocals. Like,
yeah, exactly. You'll be cross-eyed at the end of the day.
Who's telling you I ain't right now? No. So Frank, this is your life, dude. Let's start at the beginning, dude. Let's just jump back to the beginning, because I've heard a lot about you. You're on Thursdays on BTL, right? So
Correct.
you've put yourself out there a lot, dude. But I haven't heard about you as an angler or you as a human. So let's start with where and when were you born, man?
I was born in Cleveland, Ohio, January 3rd, 1961.
Nice,
to be exact.
Yeah. Roughly 3:02 a.m. No,
I am a twin. I have a twin brother.
What?
Yeah, we look nothing alike. We're fraternal twins. Okay. And we were the first twins born in the new year.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So
whatever that means, I don't know, but we were.
Dude, I got questions. So when you're a twin, you're fraternal twins. So like, I don't know if you guys have the same, like that weird connection that identical twins have, where if one's scared, the other one knows it and they're not in the same room type thing. Or is that just kind of?
No, my brother and I are, I want to say we're completely different, but we're really not.
Mm-hmm.
But we have our differences. He's more introverted. He's big. He's like a silverback gorilla. I mean, he's a giant, he's a giant guy. And he owned a bunch of body shops. And when I stopped fishing Bassmasters, I went to work for him for a while. And that's where I got my hands on all the pearls and stuff for painting, because PPG, House of Color, all those guys would come into the shop. And of course, I would be like what new pearls do you have? You know what
Oh
I
yeah.
mean? So, because I made my own lures back then to fish with. Like when I fished Bassmasters, I made my own stuff to fish with. So I would know nobody would have it. So if I was catching fish on it, I felt, I don't know, better, like I had an edge, even though
Hmm.
finding the fish is the edge, not the bait, but
Yeah.
you know the drill.
No, it's still no, because presentation is everything once you find the fish. Like you could throw a Senko in 40 feet of water all day and not catch a damn thing. So I'm
Well,
just
that's a
saying.
fact.
Yeah. And they could just be right there doing nothing, you know. So wait,
100%.
did you shave your own baits too at that time? Were you like making your own, shaving down your own balsa, or
I changed the bill designs on some of my crankbaits to get them to
okay.
run differently.
Oh,
I didn't make my balsa baits or anything, but
mhm.
I would change the bills to give them different actions and stuff, give them different pitch and rolls on my
Got
crankbaits.
Oh yeah, so tighter wobble, wider wobble, all that kind of stuff.
Correct.
Oh, okay,
Correct.
cool, man. That's cool. So, but there's a big gap in there. Like you're born as a twin. Did you guys like just grow up doing everything together? Were you guys pretty much
The only thing
completely
my brother
opposite?
and I ever did together was hunt. That's all we did together. My friends were different than his friends. I was always fishing somewhere, and he
Mhm.
hated fishing, so he wouldn't even, he wouldn't even entertain it.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, we were. It's so weird. Like I'll tell you a funny story. I had a really close friend of mine that I used to work with, and I had to run into an auto parts store. So he goes, "Well, I'm not doing nothing. I'll go with you." So I said, "Cool, come on." So his name was Bob. So I said, "Come on." And so he comes with me, and I ran into my brother there. And I go, "Hey, John." He goes, "Hey, Frank, how's it going?" I go, "Good. How about you?" He goes, "Good." I go, "Cool. Nice seeing you again." And my buddy, we get out. My buddy goes, "What is that? Somebody you knew from high school?" I go, "No, that's my brother." And it was so that, I mean, that's just like, that's typical, that's just how it went.
Awesome. Awesome, dude. But that, I mean, that's a solid relationship because you guys, you're brothers nonetheless. So if one person was getting in a fight, the other one was backing him up.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
he was always there. If I had an
yeah,
issue, he was the first one there,
that's cool.
without a doubt. Yeah, I
So
mean,
it's just you two and your mom and dad, or
and we have a sister also, a younger sister. She's a couple years younger
oh, so
than
she had
us.
like enforcers growing up,
Oh yeah,
basically.
she
Yeah.
hated us. Yeah, she'd bring a guy over. If she was going on a date or something, he'd come over, and my brother would have to take him out for a ride, talk to him. Sometimes they never came back after that. I mean, they came back. They were alive. They just
Yeah.
never came back to
Okay.
the house.
Like, man, Cleveland's different,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah, it's a different town. It's a
Yeah,
different town.
that's awesome.
But so she hated it. She hated it. But at the same token, we were not gonna let anything bad ever happen to her. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
So,
that's kind
I
of
mean,
how our family is.
I got a little sister. I fully get it.
Yeah.
100%. So, what was growing up in Cleveland like then? Were you guys just always, he was always hunting, you were always fishing, or did you guys play sports or?
He played football for a minute. Um, I swam, I dove, I did downhill skiing, um, mostly fishing. I hunted a lot. I hunted small game. I loved rabbit and grouse hunting, and then my brother was more big game animals. Um, and then when he started going out west elk hunting and all that, that's when I said, "Go have fun. I'm not going. I could be
You know,
fishing."
I'm going west after some fish is what I'm doing.
100%.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's kind of what we did. I mean, we hunted. The last time I hunted with them was, I think, 3 years ago. We went deer hunting.
Mm.
Um, we went deer hunting when I worked for him. We hunted all the time because I worked for him, and he'd be like, "Let's go. Let's take off tomorrow and go shoot an animal." And I'm like, "Yeah, all right, I'm in." And so we would do that. But when I stopped working for him, um, I really don't. I don't really hunt anymore because I fish all winter now, and
Mhm.
so I barely have an opportunity to hunt. And here everything's private land, and we lost our lease, and so it's too much of a pain in the butt to try and get another one. So I'm just like, eh.
Got it. Got it. But he still goes out and goes hunting. He just goes in other areas, and you just kind of see you later, bud. Enjoy.
Yeah, I'm like, knock yourself out, man. But so,
Yeah.
so what I'll do is I'll go out and I'll walleye fish, and I'll trade him walleye for elk or walleye for antelope. And
Oh, that's
so,
perfect.
yeah, so it works out because
Yeah.
I'm stuck in his fish side of his world, and he's stuck in my carnivore side. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
So
Filling
it
that
works
red meat
out.
freezer.
Oh
Yeah, that's
yeah. Oh
awesome.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. So I mean, that's what you guys. So diving, football, like all that kind of stuff. Was there like stuff you guys did on the weekends? You guys like get into like cars or anything like that, or were you guys just kind of?
Yeah, my brother clearly, because I mean he owned a bunch of body shops and builds four-wheel drive vehicles. It's F&D off road, I think is what he's doing now. He does restoration work. So like someone will come in with an old 70 Ford Bronco, but they
Mhm,
want everything interior wise, suspension wise, like today's. And so
mhm.
he'll literally take the tops off, restore them, put them on a new vehicle, new truck body. So when you look at the vehicle, it looks like a 69 or a 70 Ford Bronco, but it's laid out, all computerized, super good suspension, big motors, stuff like that. That's what he's
That's
doing now.
awesome.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
honest, I live in California, as you know. My son is super into that stuff right now. He's like, Dad, what if we took these old cars and we put them on top of new cars? So
Oh
we
yeah,
have the old car shape with the new car insides. I'm like, Bud, that is the dream. And you're telling me that your brother does that for a living. That's awesome.
yeah, yeah,
that's,
yeah. And they
that's so cool.
and people pay big money
Oh,
for it. Big money
oh
for it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
stupid. It's stupid money. I'm like,
yeah.
I chose fishing. What do you want from me?
Yo, you got any pearls later on? Might give you some more
Exactly.
pearl.
100%.
That's awesome, man. So, you guys went through high school, you dove, he played football. What was after high school like? Were your parents like encouraging you to go to college, or was it like, do what you want, guys, like enjoy yourself. You're good
Yeah,
at fishing, you're good at hunting, you go shoot, you go catch. Like,
yeah.
how'd
So
that
what
work?
happened was, well, the truth of the matter is when I was an artist my whole life. Um,
Hmm.
I could draw anything and everything except a person's face, believe it or not. I could draw any animal, any fish, anything. And so one day I was like, I don't know how old I was, 12, 13 years old, and I'm watching, remember Fishing Facts and
Nope.
In Fisherman? Okay,
No.
so that's how those were the only fishing shows on TV back then. Was In
Okay.
Fisherman or Fishing Facts. And so I'm watching them with my dad, and I got my pad of paper out and my pencil, and I'm scribbling and scribbling and scribbling, drawing and drawing and drawing, and I go, "Hey dad." And what I did was I drew a bluegill, and I took his
Hmm.
fins off and put a bill on them and two hook hangers and treble hooks. I said, "Dad,
Yeah.
if fish eat other fish, why don't they just make lures to look like fish?" And I was like, 12 or 13 at the time. And
No.
you know what I mean? It was stuff like that. And then, when I was 14, this is crazy. Okay, so Fishing Facts magazine came out. Um, the guy who caught the world record walleye at the time, I think he caught it out of Greer's Ferry, and the picture of him and the walleye was on page 31 of that Fishing Facts magazine. Okay.
Okay.
And I was telling my dad about it, just like I told you guys right now,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I said it. And he looks at me and he goes, "If you would spend half that time in school, you'd get straight A's and you'd be a genius." You know what I mean? And I'm like, "Yeah, but I don't like school." You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? I like what I like. And
Hmm.
so anyway, so when I was 14, Bo Dowden won the St. Uh, he won the Bassmaster event on the St. Lawrence River, and he was flipping a black and blue jig in the eelgrass. So
Hmm.
where the current would roll over the eelgrass, it would make like a thing, and he would punch in there, and the bass would be in the the hole from the eelgrass. So anyway, long and short of it is that I saw that and I went, Dad, I'm going to become a professional bass fisherman. And he said, no, you're not. You're going to go and you're going to get a job and you're going to sweep floors and you're going to work your way up to, so someday you'll be running the company. You are not you can't make a living fishing, is what he told me. And so I'm like, okay, well, whatever, I'm a kid, whatever. And so anyhow, so what wound up happening is I wound up getting into graphics, art and design, do all that crap, go to school, and then in high school, and then I got into all the advanced art classes in high school, and literally when I went away to college, I went into product design, and it just never seemed like work to me. It just
no,
flowed.
yeah, it's your natural thing, and like. So I was going to ask you, like, where did you find the art? Was it just sitting there on the living room counter or in the living room floor making that drawing got you into art, or was it like a teacher, or were you were just drawn to drawing? How did that work? Because
I just drew from birth, dude.
Got it. Okay.
So what happened was in grade school, my mom helped me with a project that I did. I don't even remember what the project was, but clearly I didn't do it as a kid in grade school. Clearly I had an adult handling this. One of the kids on the bus was making fun of me and he called me a liar. And so I said, no, I can draw, I'm not lying. So remember, I don't know if you guys remember, but remember they used to get the bubblegum packs? They were called odd rods, and they had the cards in them of the funny cars with the creatures driving them and stuff. You don't remember this, but anyway, they were called odd rods. Okay. So he goes, if you think you did that project, then draw this. And he whipped out one of those little cards. He said, draw that. So on the bus on the way to school, I drew it and I handed it to him. And that's when I realized that I could probably draw anything if I see it. And so that's how my artistic thing.
Got it. Okay, dude, that's awesome. Like you took a realism and then you just made it. That, and on top of that, like I'm gonna say, I've rode plenty of buses in my day. Never once have I been able to draw a straight line on the bus.
Oh yeah,
I mean, you're just all over the place. So
right, 100%.
That's double talent right there. Yeah.
So that's
which,
go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say I have a buddy. I have a close friend of mine who literally orders the Bank and Creek bundle specifically to get your art and then takes it and frames it. He's a buddy of mine. Yeah, he lives out in your direction. He's in Pennsylvania, but
that's not bad. I don't want to ask you what part of Pennsylvania, but
Pittsburgh.
Oh, he's 2 hours, 2.5 hours at the most away from me.
Yeah, he's right down the corner. So hang on real quick. I'm gonna pump out this ad because I need to do this ad real quick so we can really get into this. I'm really sorry. So hold on 1 second, okay?
No, you go, man. Go.
Here we go. What up, dudes and dudettes? I'm sure you're tired of hearing my voice by now, but you're going to hear it for a little bit longer because this is a shout out to the sponsor of this show, Kayak City. Kayak City has been taking care of me ever since I started getting into a boat and paddling around in the water trying to catch some fish. And when I tell you it is Kayak City, it is literally like a city of kayaks. They have Bonafide, Eddy Line, Feel Free, Hobie, Jackson, Native, New Canoe, Old Town, Wilderness Systems, and so many used kayaks. I stopped trying to count them a long time ago. If you guys are looking for accessories, they have walls and walls and walls of accessories. They have one wall dedicated specifically to Yak Attack, and it is a massive wall. Kayak City is your #1 Yak Attack dealer here in Northern California. If you want to know where it is, stop by at 7812 Auburn Boulevard, Citrus Heights, CA. Roll through, say what up to James, Troy, Eric, Scott. Tell them Dave says what's up and tell them I sent you there. Thanks for listening. Normally I do that at the beginning and I totally forgot. I'm sorry. So you have figured out this gift on the bus. You're like, I can draw anything. So
I knew I could draw. I just didn't know I could draw anything.
Oh, dude, that's a rare talent. Like there's the percentage of people that are very good at something such as art, like hand and eye coordination, is super small. You know,
Yeah.
same thing with like mathematics, like people who are really good at math, super small. So, moving from that is like, so you're drawing everything. Are you taking art classes? Are you trying to like hone this skill, or are you just constantly drawing for yourself?
In the beginning, I just drew to draw. So I
Mhm.
would see like pictures of birds, wood ducks, whatever, and I would draw them. I would be, oh,
Mhm.
that's so cool. So I would go, I would get Autobahn books. I would get books of other artists that do wildlife because I wanted to see how they did it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so that's what I did. And then when I went to high school, I started taking art classes. And to be honest with you, it was not challenging at all.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Um, but I did it. I did it, and I you know blew through that. College was an eye opener because I didn't. In college, I took specifics. I took product design, and I learned then that I'm going to make this prototype,
Mhm.
and then I'm going to draw it mechanically. So you don't really do the mechanicals first, you do them last. I might do a rendering first. Oh, this is what I want it to look like, blah, blah, blah. And so it was, and college was tough because there was 250 people in my beginning design class, and it was designed to knock everybody out except for 50.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah. And so seriously. And so, I mean, I clearly I survived it. I
Yeah.
made the cut and everything. Um, and then turns out I didn't finish college. I had about a year to go, and I said, "No, I'm done." And then
Whoa. Just
I left,
yeah.
and I started my own ad agency. And so what I did,
Oh,
so I did marketing and advertising for until I became a professional bass angler.
dude, I bet that went hand in hand too. I bet that just the artistic, your artistic designs and your balance there, and then on top of that, with the advertising and marketing, when you got into bass fishing, you're like, oh yeah, this is really easy for me to just do all this because I mean,
Well,
all those guys kind of have to market themselves, right?
yeah, and so the truth of the matter is I honestly didn't know where the marketing and advertising was going to come into play with the bass fishing because first I had to make it. First I had to
Mhm.
qualify for the elites and all that stuff. But what wound up happening was I fished semi-pro all the time, even when I was working. I fished
Mm.
semi-pro. So I had started to develop and build a reputation and a name for myself. And I used my advertising background on a small scale to get local sponsorships to do, just to so I could play the game without paying the game. Um,
Yeah.
and when I hit Bassmasters, I put together at the time it was one of the largest sponsor packages at the time.
Oh wow.
I was
Wow.
probably the top 12 in
Huh.
sponsorship. And so when I realized that it's not about bass fishing, it's about marketing, I went
Mhm.
full bore into it. So when I approached a potential sponsor, I had cost per thousands, how many people are we going to reach, what the demographic is. And so my portfolio was very little fishing stuff because
Mhm.
I'll be honest with you, I made a huge mistake. I got really overzealous and I was at a function with the president of Sherwin-Williams. I'm
Mm.
not going to
What
say his
the
name,
no, no, it's fine. The
but
paint brand, yes.
yes. And so what I did was I walked and I knew he was a fisherman.
Mhm.
I walked right up to him and I introduced myself. I said, "Hey, I'm fishing Bassmasters. Um, I qualified for the elites. You guys should sponsor me. I got a boat wrap idea in my head. I got everything." And he looked at me and he goes, "What are you asking for?" And I gave him a number and he just looked at me and he goes, "You know what? I want someone to pay me to go fishing." And that was the end of the conversation. right then and there.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
when I said, no more. It's never going to be about fishing. It's only going to be about marketing. And that's how I put together my sponsor package.
Dude, I love that.
My big non-endemic was OSI, Ohio Sealants and Adhesives,
Hmm.
worldwide.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was my biggest one I had on my entire bass fishing career. And
That's awesome.
we had so much fun. Those guys were the best. They were the absolute best.
It's
And
like my boat never leaks.
yeah, right. Seriously. But yeah, they were the best, and we worked on promotions together because they wanted their demographics, contractors, subcontractors, and those guys, they play outdoors. Most of them play
Hmm.
outdoors. So instead of them going after them at the trade shows, they wanted to go after them where they recreate, which was
Hmm.
perfect, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
we would sit around and we would make up promotion ideas. Um, that's when I got all my other sponsors involved. We were sitting around at lunch one time and they said, "Hey, we want to do a promotion where we give a bass boat away. Um, we're talking about 40 million cases of product. We could put your logos, your silhouette, and everything on all the product, and blah blah blah." And I said, "Yeah, let me make a couple phone calls." And at the time I called Triton because they were my boat sponsor. I called Triton and I talked to them and I said, "Here's what we're doing. We're going to have 70 million products. You know, your logo is going to be on every one of them. They're going to be distributed all over the country. Um,
Hmm.
blah, 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 blah." I said, can we do a 19-footer? And they go, "Yeah, we can." I said, "Okay, cool." This was at lunch. I just called them.
Yeah.
So I go,
Oh.
"Cool." I said, "I'll call you right back." He's like, "Okay." So I tell them we got the boat. I got to get the motor. So I picked up the phone and I was with Yamaha at the time. And I called my buddies at Yamaha and I said, "Hey, we're doing this promotion, blah, blah, blah." And I'm just like that, doing it right off the cuff. Like we're freewheeling. Got a motor, got the whole thing put together in like an hour. And those guys were freaking out, and we were having, it was so much, it was so free, it was so much fun. And so we did the promotion and then they put everything together. And here I was always about cross branding. So
Yeah.
never once will you see me wear a motor shirt without all the other logos on it, or a bass boat shirt without all the other logos on it, or any shirt without all the other logos on it. So I remember emphatically, and this is no slam on anybody, it's just a story of the truth. So no
Hmm.
slam. I
No.
had to go
Yeah.
do a photo shoot with Yamaha. And
Yeah.
so I go do the photo shoot and they hand me a jersey and it just says Yamaha on it. And
Mm.
so I'm like, I won't mention names. I'm like, so and so, that ain't gonna work. And they go, "What do you mean it's not gonna work? You're doing a photo shoot for Yamaha." And I said, "All my other promotions that I'm doing outside this industry have your logo on them.
Hmm.
So should I take them off? All the other stuff that I'm doing, should I take your logo off?" And they're
Right.
like, "What do you mean?" And I said, if if I don't cross promote my sponsors, then I'm not promoting you. Period.
Hmm.
And they're like, wear your stuff, dude."
That's
And so
awesome. That
yeah,
that's
that
integrity, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, that's real.
no, it's absolutely 1000% true. Um,
Yeah.
and it was just, and so in the beginning, see, I recognized all this right off the rip in the beginning, and so I used it totally to the advantage of my sponsors, of course, to my advantage too, right? Because I needed the
Yeah.
sponsor money.
Yeah.
But it was a win-win for everybody involved, and it was really cool. I mean, we did stuff that was so much fun and so interesting, and um, but that's what happens when you're dealing with a non-endemic to
Hmm.
the industry. They have way more flexibility,
Yeah.
way bigger marketing budgets, and they don't have 15,000 people pounding on their door for the same thing.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so that's why it worked.
Yeah. Oh, dude. And you know, I really think that was, I don't know. I like the stand upness of that. Like, hey, dude, like if I'm just doing you right now, then I'm just going to do them everywhere else. You know, like I'm not going to
Right.
do you when I go to like that's, you know, and that's like what my buddy Zach and Josh, they talk about from Dark Horse Tackle. They talk about the virtuous cycle where
Hmm.
it's everybody feeding everybody. We all got each other's backs. And that is super stand up. I love that, dude. So how did they let you wear your gear? You did the photo shoot, all that kind of stuff. And then were you going into the elites or the opens at that point? Were you already in the elite series or
My
was it
first,
even elite series at the time? Was it
it was
Bassmaster?
the top 100 or the top 150 back then.
Okay. Okay.
Um, I fished the first season. I fished the opens. Right at the end of that season, I picked
Okay.
up OSI.
Got it. Yeah.
Right at the end of that season, I had Triton and I had Yamaha.
Mm-hmm.
The deal got better once I made the elites, but I had them, so I had the in there.
Mm-hmm.
OSI was the big thing because that gave me the credibility outside the industry, outside the fishing industry. Um,
Yeah.
and that was huge and very important. And everything I did was very integral as far as getting myself to be part of their advertising campaign. I did the same thing with my endemic sponsors. I tried to get myself into their world so they would utilize me. So what it would become is it would become a relationship, not of dependency, because that's really a bad word, but it would
Yeah.
become a relationship predicated on fulfilling
So
both of our
symbiotic
needs.
relationship where
Yes,
both of you guys are, yeah.
right.
Okay.
Not
Dude, and that,
parasitic, but
yeah.
symbiotic.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
both of you guys are getting the same value out of the relationship. And
100%.
I talk about this a lot with people when they ask me what they need to do for this, that, or the other. And I'm always like, dude, it's not about what you can get or it's either about what you can give or what kind of relationship can you have? Because it's all about
100%.
the relationship. It has nothing to do with the transactional requirements.
Nothing.
That comes with like down the line. You need to have a relationship with people. Like you need to open up and talk to them on a regular basis, let them know what's going on in your life,
Absolutely.
ask them about theirs, like have a relationship. So that way,
Right.
when it's like, hey man, I'm getting ready to do this thing, they're like, say less, bro. I got you,
Right.
and vice
Right.
versa. They're like, hey, we're kind of hurting. Do you think you could give a hand? I'll be down at that expo tomorrow, bro. I'll be there. I got your back or whatever, like we need
Right.
some
Whatever it
photos.
is. Yeah.
Say less. I'm there. So,
Exactly. And that's how it has to be.
yeah.
It doesn't work otherwise. Like I in the beginning of my bass fishing career, I had a lot of new guys coming in and they wanted to sit down and talk about sponsorships and stuff. And at the end of the day, I'd be like, you don't you're not generating enough numbers to quantify the dollars you're asking for. And they're like, what are you talking about, man? It costs us so much money to fish. I go, it ain't about what it costs you. You have to
Mm-hmm.
be of value to the people you're marketing for. It's
Mm-hmm.
a cost per thousand basis. And the
Mm-hmm.
average cost per thousand is about, well, back then it was about 3.5 cents a thousand. So,
Mm.
or $3.50 a thousand. So
Oh,
you,
okay. I was like, whoa.
yeah, so you
Like,
have to, understand that your cost per thousand to them just became not a bargain. They would never, they have to justify this with their ad agency. They'll never justify those numbers for that kind of money.
yeah.
So you're going to have to take the approach of you're going to need 10 sponsors to make up
Mm-hmm.
what you need to get what you need to get. And so it got to be, that's how it got to go. Like a lot of the guys in the beginning weren't asking me about fishing. They were asking me about how to get the money. Okay.
Yeah.
And so
How to
that's kind
support
of
themselves. Yeah.
right. And so that's kind of where, a reputation that I got just predicated on well, what they thought, because when they saw what my sponsor base, they thought I obviously knew something. And so it was weird. It was really bizarre, humbling, but bizarre. And the other thing is, I would tell these guys, don't ever lie to them. Never, ever, ever lie to them, because it will come back and bite you in the end, and you're going to ruin it for you forever, because when you get that reputation, nobody's going to touch you anymore. And that was that.
Dude, like you said, it was humbling. I was curious about how that felt, having all these guys come up and just start, hey man, you got this thing and I want to have part of that. Did you have a little bit of a sense of like, pride or something, like, yeah, man, I really worked hard for this? Or was it like,
yeah, I mean, I was proud of myself for what I got, but it was humbling, because I didn't think I deserved the credit they were giving me. Because go ahead.
I was gonna say, you're receiving that imposter syndrome almost. You're like, dude, I don't deserve all this.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, 100%. Because here I was new on the trail. I had a good first year. I mean, I won't lie, I made the classic, and won Rookie of the Year. So it was clearly a good first year. But it's like this. I would call home and I would go, Rach, do you believe I got another check? You know what I'm saying? Like I would be like, I was like, I got another check. I couldn't believe it. And but in the beginning, all I did was go fish. Like the likes of Rick Clunn, Van Dam, all those guys. I wasn't awestruck by them. Like, I wasn't superstar struck by them. I totally respected them. But I wasn't like freaked out. Oh, I'm going to be fishing against these guys. All I said was, I got to catch 5 fish and then I got to try to call them.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. What kind of mindset do you get into when you're fishing against these guys? Like, that's what I was going to ask. Like, that was leading up to my next question, was like, because you got the confidence and the pride from like people asking you questions, but then you're sitting out there and you're going up against like these guys that are just running the game right now. Like, and you said,
KVD was the ruler, dude. Don't kid yourself. I mean, he ruled. But
yeah, I'm just curious, like, was that a mirror conversation in the morning? Like, all right, 5 fish. Don't worry about Kevin. Yeah. Don't worry about Rick. It is 5 fish.
I never even thought about those guys. I just thought about catching fish. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Because
so you totally went to a different mental place. You were just honed in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Total tunnel vision. All I said was, I'm out here to catch fish. If I can catch my fish, then the cards are going to fall where they fall once we plunk them on the scales. So let's just worry about fishing and not worry about anything else. And that's what I did. To be honest with you, I never, ever thought about my competitors. I only thought about catching them. And if I didn't catch them, I was so mad at myself that I would stay after those lakes until I figured it out. Like, I was not going home until I figured it out. And which was good and bad.
Yeah.
It was good and bad, you know what I mean? Like, my wife's like, it's over, why aren't you coming home? I said, I haven't figured it out yet. You know what I mean? I'll be home in a couple days. I couldn't do that on back-to-back events, because I had to leave to go to the next event. But if it wasn't a back-to-back event, I stayed and fished just to learn the lake, because I have never seen any of these lakes in my life before. And that was the first time I was ever on them. So I made sure that I was going to maximize the time that I could. So it was always a work thing. Like, fishing to me was 24/7 nonstop ever.
I mean, it's a lifestyle, first off, and second off, you've found a way to make a living at it. So that's awesome. So you were saying it was tough, like, on the wife and stuff like that. What was it like when you would come home? Was it like, would you just shut all the angling out and the tunnel vision, all that stuff, put it away, like compartmentalize it and be like, Daddy Frank now, or how did that, or did you have to come home and be like, all right, so I heard you're in trouble, everybody's going to get their butt whooped real quick in the backyard, and then we're all going to go eat dinner? Or like, how does
Yeah,
that work?
no, I mean, it was really hard because I'll tell you the hardest part. This is kind of personal, but here's the
Yeah.
hardest part, okay?
Mhm.
As bad as I wanted to leave to go to the next lake, that's as bad as I wanted to be home once I left. And so I was constantly fighting this. I need to go home. I need to be home. I need to be on the lake. I need to be on the lake. It was a constant battle. So what I did was I made total tunnel vision. So the minute that my boat was hooked up to the truck, home was gone. And I told my wife, I said, don't call me unless someone's in the hospital because I have to focus on what I'm doing. So don't call me if Frankie got a broken finger or if Frankie fell off his bike or if Noah, whatever. Don't call me. And because I'm not answering the phone at all during the day until I get off the lake at night. So I'll call you when I get back to the hotel. Don't call me. I mean, I had to be like, because if you let outside influences take you out of the game, especially on lakes you've never seen before, you're not focusing on what you need to focus on to catch the fish. Basically,
Absolutely.
you got to find them. And these, you know what I mean? You have to find them, and you only have a finite time frame to do it in before the competition starts. So, you know, so that's what we did. And then as my career developed, you know, my wife literally, got to give her the credit because she pretty much raised my kids, because for
Champion.
11, 12 years I was gone 230 some days a year. I wasn't home. And so I got to give her that credit. And then she would be like, oh, and then you come home and you ruin everything because it's playtime. Daddy's home. And you know, you know what I mean? No, you don't have to go to,
Disneyland.
yeah, you don't have to go to school tomorrow. We'll go fishing. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, so she would have these kids like, you know, to the marching orders, and then I'd come home and all hell breaks loose until I leave again. And so, you know, so we had to get through that kind of stuff, which was good. I mean, it was, I got to give her the credit because I could have never done it without her, because I could have never left. And so it would have never happened. I made the sacrifice with a wife and 4 kids when I decided to go pro. My father passed away when he just turned 59, like a couple months in, and he had a heart attack and died. And we were sitting at the funeral, and I saw him the day before he passed away, and we were talking, and he's like, I want to get that elk ranch in Wyoming. And I'm like, what are you waiting on, dude? Nobody's home anymore. Just you and mom. Just go get the frickin' ranch. You know, if you need help, Johnny and I'll help you. And he goes, oh, it's just not the right time. Well, he died the next day. And so at the funeral, I was sitting in church, and I looked at my wife and I said, I'm going to try to go pro, because that, and I pointed, you know, at my dad. I said, that is not going to happen to me. I'm doing I'm doing it. I'm going to try. If I don't make it, I'll never bring it up again. But I hit the ground running, thank God, and made it, you know. And that's what gave me the balls, basically, to just go do it. Even with the responsibilities that we had at home.
Yeah, that's such a catalyst. Like, that's such a major catalyst in your life to push yourself to go, all right, you know what? I have X amount of time. I'm living on borrowed time right now. I'm on somebody else's schedule. Let me do what I can to do the most and get the most out of this schedule. Dude, that's super awesome. But I can imagine the emotional toll. Like, I drop my son off at his mom's house and I drive home. It's loud and we're talking the whole way over. And then on the way home, it's just silence in my car, man. And like, dude, I can imagine just leaving for a long period, an extended period of time like that, dude. That's just that's a struggle, man. That
Yeah.
really brings out the man in you for sure. Like you have to like,
Yeah, well, you better be really good with who you are, because you spend a lot of road time, you have a lot of time to think.
yeah.
The thing that was fortunate for me is the only thing I focused on the minute I left was how to catch them.
Hmm.
I tuned everything out. Now, I'm not going to say I was perfect at it, because I wasn't, but I tried to tune everything out. It was the only way I could do it personally. Like I know guys that can, you know, they're on the phone practicing. Hey, honey, what's that? Da, 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 they can do that. Good for them. I couldn't do that. I'm not as smart, so
Mhm.
I have to put more work into it. You know what I'm saying? So that's
Yeah.
kind of how it goes.
Yeah, honestly, I fish small little like either online or local kayak tournaments. I'll never be I'm never gonna be a tournament angler for sure. But because I like the last tournament I fished, I caught a nap. That's about all I caught the whole time. But I was up really late the night before. My dishwasher like drained out on my floor. It was just so yeah, I found a nice little cove and took a nap. And so
Yeah,
anyway, I woke up to some boaters like, "Are you all right?" My arm was asleep, so apparently on my kayak somehow I basically had my arm off in the water, like
dragging
yeah,
behind you,
yeah. I looked dead, I was like, yeah,
gator
I'm fine.
bait.
Yeah. So yeah, so I'll never be able to do that. But I do want to ask you when you're talking about the angler mindset, it's the practice, your number one focus. Because if I get a phone call from my wife, I spiral. I just do. I literally lose focus of everything that I'm doing. So I totally understand not answering the phone.
Yeah.
But have you ever come into a situation where you're like, you know what? I got to pack the boat up. I got to get home. Was there ever a situation in your career at that
Yeah,
time where you're like,
the
this has
end of
got to
my career.
happen?
Yeah, the end of my career.
Oh, what happened?
I got a phone call. OSI sold to a different
Mhm.
company, and the guys that I grew to know and love really well were all gone. A new company came in, and I had to renegotiate a contract. They weren't from here; they were from France and Germany, so they didn't understand this fishing gig.
Yeah.
Um, Explained it as best I could. You know, talked about the successes we had, prior to them buying it. They cut the contract down, and I wasn't happy about the contract being cut down. And I said, you throw on another additional number figure, and after the fourth event, and then we'll renegotiate for next season. And they said,
Mhm.
okay, no problem. Fourth event comes along. I call home. I'm like, hey, babe, did we get the money? And she said, no, they didn't send it. I said, all right, I'll take care of it. So I called them up, and they said, oh, yeah, about that. We're not going to do it.
Mm.
I said, okay. I said, I'll see you in a couple days. And I called Bassmasters, and I said, hey, I got a family emergency. Got to go. I packed up
Mhm.
everything. I came home. I drove down there and had it out with them. And like I said, it wasn't the original guys. These are all new faces, new players.
Yeah, yeah.
Had it out with them, and said, yeah, I quit. And I walked out
Yeah.
of their office. It was one of the hardest days of my life ever.
Mm.
I got a mile from their office and started shaking uncontrollably, crying like a baby, because everything I'd ever wanted and worked for is gone, like
Yeah.
that. Like a click of a finger, it's gone. And I had to go home and tell my wife that I don't have a job,
Yeah.
with 4 kids, a house, schools, the whole 9 yards. So um, didn't know what was going to happen. To be honest with you, I sold my boat because I needed money to pay bills. I had to make sure the family was taken care of. So I
Yeah.
sold the boat.
Everybody's got to eat. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sold the boat right away. Big bummer. got a job 2 weeks later.
Dude.
You know, big bummer, but it was a necessity. I had no
Yeah.
choice. And yeah, I mean, I didn't know how it was going to affect me at first, but I got really depressed. Was not happy. Like I just was not, like, everything I ever wanted on the fishing side of my life is gone. My
Yeah.
family side of my life, everything I ever wanted is still there, which was probably my saving grace. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, my brother came through. He said, "Dude, I need you at the body shop. Um, do sales for me and run the Streetsboro shop." So I said, "Yeah, okay, cool." Did that, worked like a dog, 15-hour days, and nobody gave a shit about fishing. So I'd go,
Mhm.
you know, into these. I was a nobody in the industry, a nobody. So I learned body work. I learned automotive painting. I learned everything I need to learn so I could talk about it. I
Mhm.
had the body shop guys show me how to pound dents out, lay bondo, sand, do everything. So if I walked into a car dealership, I could talk it because I did it.
Mhm.
Not great,
Yeah.
but I did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, so it was really wild. All the while, which the irony is, all the while, um, I still had my hands in product design in the lure industry in a small capacity, but I was
Mhm.
always in it, always doing it for lure companies. Um, and then one day it just started getting bigger and bigger, and Pradco made some pretty big demands, and
Mhm.
then we worked something out. And I sat my brother down. I said, "Bro, I'm bailing." Um, I said, "I'm leaving. Uh,
Yeah.
I want to do what I need to do, and it's not here." And so I said, "Let me train some people to do what I was doing for you." So we got 3 new people, and I trained them to do what I was doing, and you know,
That's
moved
always
on.
confidence. Like it takes 3 to
Yeah.
do what you did by yourself. You're like, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, well, it did because I was doing a lot, and
Yeah.
hence the long days. I mean, I'd get up in the dark. I'd be home in the dark,
Yeah.
every day, and I'm a guy. I need to be outdoors. I can't be
Yeah.
cooped up all the time.
No.
It just
Yeah.
it's
I get
not
it.
good for my psyche. I can't handle it. Like I'm like a caged animal. I got to get outside. So so anyway, so he wished me the best of luck, and you know, it went on from there. And then, of course, there were benefits to the body shop, which I didn't realize at the time, but it was getting my hands on all the new painting products that were out there that nobody even had yet.
Hmm.
Um, so I was,
All the airbrushing. Yeah.
oh, dude, it was fabulous, man. And so I it jump started what I'm doing painting wise
Mhm.
for all the lure companies. It jump started that. And
Yeah.
then the podcast, um, I that was, dude, that was like it's so weird. I don't believe in luck. I believe you make your own luck.
Hmm.
That was lucky because I knew Mark Jeffries from when I fished Bassmasters,
Hmm.
and there was an event coming here. I don't know if it was a Bassmaster event or an FLW event coming up to Sandusky to fish Lake Erie, and I had won
Hmm.
the Lake Erie Buffalo tournament. And so Mark thought it would be good to have me on the show to talk about the
Hmm.
smallmouth fishing in the Great Lakes.
Yes.
So he called. He says, "Hey, you want to?" Yeah, I said, "Yeah, I'll do it, man. Yeah, I could talk smallmouth. I'll do it." So
Hmm.
he had me on, and I was just doing what I normally do, and saying, well, they got to look for these glacier deposits because they're not on any maps and they're isolated, and they won't hold 1 million fish, but they'll hold the biggest ones. Blah 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 blah. Go through the whole deal, and he calls me back like, I don't know, a few days later, and he's like, "Dude, the downloads when you were on the show were astronomical. Holy crap! you got to come on and do another one. So I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll do another one. And so I wound up doing like 6 or 7, guest appearances in a very
Mhm.
compact amount of time. And then
Mhm.
he came up with this idea. He's like, hey, you need your own day. We'll do day 4.
Yes.
And so I'm like, come on, man, come on. It's fun. I want to do it, but it's your show, dude.
Yeah.
You and Matt, you guys, this is your thing. Now. He goes, no, day 4 will be yours, yours. You have day 4. And I said, all right. I said, don't get any advertisers for the show yet. I
Mhm.
said, let's see what we could do. And so we worked on it and worked on it and worked on it, and we got a single sponsor for the whole day for day 4.
Who ended up
Pragma.
jumping on? Yeah,
Pragma.
yeah. Yeah.
And so it worked out flawlessly, but I never knew where it was going to go from there. That was like,
Mhm.
holy shit. You know what I mean? That was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And the fan base is great. I love the guys. This format is a
Mhm.
fabulous format. This was
Mhm.
never available when I was an angler.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say when you were talking about spending a long time on the road, like, trying to focus, like, dude, I listen to fishing podcasts. That helps me get in the mentality of I'm going fishing, like, it just does.
100%.
And so, yeah, man. And I can't tell you
We
how
had,
many times I've heard you. When I told my son that you were coming on, he was like, "Is that the guy that we listened to on the radio?" I'm like, "Yeah."
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so
So it was crazy. Like I never, well, for one, I never thought there was going to be life after tournaments, because I thought I would be fishing tournaments till I couldn't fish anymore.
Mhm.
Rude awakening, life happens.
Yeah.
Turns out it happened for the best. Like honestly, like I could fish again if I wanted to. I could fish tournaments again. Um, but I really enjoy what I'm doing now a lot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I could fish whenever I want to fish, wherever I
Mhm.
want.
Mhm.
So at this point in my life, why am I going to put the added strain of having to do it? You follow me?
Yeah.
When I could
No,
do it.
it makes so much sense. No, it totally makes so much sense. You're emotionally involved now. Like you have found okay, so
Yeah.
at least from what you've told me, here's the way my brain deducts it. Like catalyst of you getting into professional fishing, which was always your dream, was your father passing away. You felt that to a certain extent, because we all do to a certain extent, and grief takes its weird winding roads down the human psyche.
Always.
And you never let go. You learn to live with, and what ended up happening is I think the culmination or like the compilation of them telling you, okay, dude, it's over. The dream dying is almost a compilation of everything from what the catalyst point to now. So you felt both at the same time. I can totally imagine like
Oh yeah, it was.
shaking and just crying uncontrollably like that. A man's dream dying is worse than his dog or his mom. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it
It
was.
just is.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. It was. It was very bizarre. I didn't expect that. I
Yeah.
expected that I was. I want to say stronger, but that has nothing to do with strength.
No.
I just realized as I was driving away from that building, I just realized that everything I had worked for is over, because I cannot get enough sponsor money to go and finish the rest of the year and pay my bills at home. See, that's the other part
Hmm.
of the equation that guys didn't understand.
Hmm.
They think if
Yeah.
you get your entry fees paid, you're breaking even. You ain't even close to breaking. You ain't even close. And
Mortgage
so,
comes every month, dude.
yeah, so I,
Yeah.
so I, so I made sure that my sponsor package paid for the bills at home, plus all my travel expenses, plus my entry fees. That's breaking even. And then whatever money you
Mhm.
win is
Mhm.
the money that you could put in the bank. But if you need every dime you win to pay your bills and to keep you on the road, your chance of survival is very slim in the professional tournament
Oh,
world. It's very slim.
oh, absolutely. So I feel like this whole you getting hooked up with Pradco and Mark Jeffries taking notice like of how well that you're doing and how well you can explain stuff to people, like, and of course your beautiful illustrations. I feel like that's almost like a resurgence because that not only does that kick off your dream, it's like a new facet of your dream, but also your childhood talent gets to be involved. And I feel like in that culmination of you being able to do stuff with lures and all these kinds of graphs and stuff that you do, like I feel like that almost feeds your soul to a different level. You would never want to tournament fish again. You know, there's
No, well,
none
no,
of the
because
hearts in it.
I still have the competitive nature to compete, but now I look at my scale's different now. What I weigh, what is means more to me is different now. Like I'll be honest with you, Pradco sponsored me in 2001 when I made the classic. I got Pradco as a sponsor, and they asked me what I wanted, what I expected, or what I wanted out of the sponsorship. And so you know, clearly the money, okay, clearly that goes without saying. But I said, I want to be involved in this industry on the on the lure design level. I want to be involved in this industry in some capacity because I want to make a difference in this industry. Where
That's awesome.
they were like, what? You know what I mean? What? Because nobody says that. You know what I mean? I want to fish forever. You got to sponsor me forever. I said I want to be involved in this industry. That's what I want. And so the people back then are not the same people today. And here I am today with them, working in the industry, putting lures on the market, blah, 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 blah. So everything came around. So it's really, it's a unique situation. Some of my buddies are like, "Oh, you're so lucky, man. Everything happened to you overnight." I'm like, "Yeah, it only overnight. It only took 30 freaking years for overnight, bro."
Yeah. Never mind all that hard work that I did. Never mind that it took 3 people to replace me
Right,
in my
just
brother's company. Yeah,
gloss over that
yeah.
part.
I just Rumpelstiltskin, I passed out, I woke up, life was good.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows? All of a sudden I woke up and here I was. Yeah, so it's really wild. I just love fishing and love the sport so much that it's who I am.
Yeah, and how does it feel to be able to be doing exactly what you wanted to do? You're making an influence. Like you influence a lot of people. Like a lot of people. It's
Very
pretty ridiculous.
humbling. It's very humbling. I feel very fortunate to be able to do this, and I don't take it lightly. So, it's really serious to me to be able to have this opportunity, so I don't squander it and I don't underestimate it ever. And so, when the fans reach out, a lot of fans will DM me on Instagram, which is Scalish_fishing. They'll reach out to me on Instagram and I answer every single one of them. You all right, bro?
Yeah, no, I got a hornet in my garage. I don't know where it came from. It just flew right by my head. I was like, "Oh shit!" Sorry, I look like a crackhead right now.
There's no gummies on the show, dude.
Yeah, dude. No, I just looked down because my Huddleston looked weird, and sure enough, there's a hornet crawling across it. I'm like, "Oh, what is that?" And I tried to smash it, and it just flew at me. So I was like, "Okay,
Yeah,
sorry, I didn't mean to totally take you away from that, dude. I'm so sorry."
He thought it was a real fish, dude. You got to remember. That's a good luck lure now.
Dude, I know. Dude, it's a blue, purple, pink trout pattern Huddleston. My buddy gave it to me yesterday. I've never fished a Huddleston before. He's like, "You got to try one of these." I'm like, "Okay, I'll try it." So
yeah, give it a wing, dude. Wing it.
Oh, I will. So, now that you're able to do this stuff on the podcast level and all this kind of stuff, what's your life looking like now? Are you, I imagine that you're very happy with where you're at. Like you get to freely fish, all this kind of stuff. Like, so what is your life looking like now? Like what's a day in your life today?
Well, I have to continually design colors and baits. So like a lot of what I do is research still on new things that are out there. I watch artistic airbrush videos, like guys that paint with airbrushes, not lures, but guys that paint pictures with airbrushes, because I can pick up new techniques that way. I can find easier ways to try to do what I'm doing on a lure by watching what they're doing on a canvas or a board. Um, and so I do that. If I get ideas for colors, I draw it out, and then I spec the colors what I think, so I don't forget them, and then I stockpile them. And that's the work side. Of course, there's meetings at work too, because it's work. We talk
Yeah.
about sales and market trends, and production issues or non-issues, shipping issues or non-issues, everything. We go through all of it, because part of what I do is also building LureNet. There's a couple of guys on our team to build LureNet, which is an on-site lure site. You can buy lures on
I
lurenet.com.
do
But
all the time. I do it all the time.
yeah, and use
You
the
guys got
code,
great links
dude.
for this now.
Yeah, use the code. Don't forget your 15% off on the,
Oh, yeah.
capital BTL 25. But anyhow, so look at these shameless plugs I'm rolling.
I know that. I'm not even knocking it. It's all
I'm
good.
so sorry, man.
No, it's all good, dude. I'll tag them in this. Maybe they'll repost it. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like that. And there's a lot of meetings. I try to schedule everything on the same day, because I watch the weather like a hawk, because I'm always trying to get on the water, because I have how-to videos on LureNet, and I have to film content, stuff like that. So I'm always trying to make sure that what I do is always, revolving around work in some capacity. No different than when I competed on the tournament trail. I was always doing everything for the tournament trails, focusing on the fish, the lakes, et cetera, et cetera. Same thing, only now I'm doing it within the industry. The reward is everything we talked about. It's the fans, it's the business successes, it's the lure colors, it's going into a tackle shop and seeing a bunch of baits that I designed sitting on the walls of these tackle shops. That's the new rewards, you know what I mean? That's the new, winning the tournament kind of thing.
Yeah,
um
dude.
yeah, it's crazy. I never knew it was going to get here, and I'm unbelievably grateful.
It's I feel like the way that your life has laid out, you are a definition of you work hard and you grind for what you want, and then you get better than what you expected.
Yeah, I'll attest to that, because I had to do a lot of things that I didn't want to do. And you just bite the bullet and you do it. And then and then like here, I was grateful for my brother for letting me work at the shops. I didn't know I was going to be running one of them. You know what I mean? I had no idea. There was a lot of things. I didn't know anything about the automotive paints, that I learned about, which helped me in my lure stuff. So there was a lot of things that along the way, this I could use, I'll keep that in my folder. This I could use, I'll put that. This I could use. And along the way, you just start putting all these pieces together. And as long as you don't lose focus on what you're really after, eventually you'll get there. But it's the big detours that screw you along the way.
Mhm.
I always tell my kids, life becomes really simple when you know exactly what you want, because then your decision making is easy. If it's going to get you closer to your goal, you say yes. If it's not, you say no. And that's exactly how it works. And the more focused you are on getting to where you want to be, it's easy to say no to things that are going to take you a different direction.
Yeah.
It's ballsy because you could say no to something that could be, monetarily wonderful down the road, but if you hate it, what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah. And then you
You
always have
know,
those situations where you get thrown a bad apple or something. And you have to like kind of, I was taught this term a long time ago. Is what if it's good? What if it's good? What if it ends up in a way that you didn't expect and your life is better for it? And you're like, oh, all right, all right, all right.
100%. Yeah, you just don't know. I mean, you just don't know, but as long as you have that focus, um, you can get there. And there's a big difference. Like, a decision is not a decision until you act on it.
Yeah. Yep.
And so, that's the one thing. And the other thing is, you know, um, a- ambition is not discipline. Like, you can be ambitious today and be a lazy ass tomorrow.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But
Yes, I do. I love that.
yeah, but on the other side of it is that, um, when you're driven and you're focused and you have discipline, that's what keeps you moving in the right direction. It's the discipline. It's not the motivation. It's the discipline. So, I mean, it's no one's perfect, and I fall down a lot and make mistakes, but at the end of the day, you learn from your mistakes, and that's what keeps you going. And there's no successful person on earth is going to tell you they never made a mistake, because
Oh,
they
hell
only
no.
became successful by making mistakes.
You can
So,
only rate success by how many times you failed anyways. If you never failed, you're
100%.
not successful, like
Right,
so
you're basically watching TV all day.
exactly. I mean, if that's your job, then I guess that's successful, but I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Exactly.
so one more question. I have a list of questions that I always do near the end, but I did want to ask one more question to just you specifically. Like, are your kids aware of your entire like life and all the things that you've been involved in and what you're doing now, or is it
Oh,
dad's in the
yeah.
basement painting? Oh
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Oh, that.
No, Frankie's aspiring to be a pro bass fisherman. He knows everything I'm doing. He's with me every step of the way. My son Josh is a college baseball player. He's out of college now. He's at some, you know, baseball facility, working on pitching, trying to get looks.
Mhm.
My daughter Rose is in California. She's an actress. And my son Noah is a firefighter in Raleigh. And they know everything I'm doing. They watch it, they follow it, they know all of it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
such good, and that's support, dude. You did a bang up job of being a dad. If your kids are backing you, like that's super
My
awesome.
wife did a better job being a mother.
You did a good job of being a Disneyland dad, so you're ready to
100%. I was the disruptor in chief.
You're the agent of chaos in the house. That's awesome.
Hmm.
So I do. Sorry, inspired one more question. You're a very meticulous person. I can tell. I can look at the background. I can tell you everything is lined up. I'm a finished carpenter by trade, so I can
Oh,
understand plumbing
sweet.
level like nobody's business. So I can see that your background and everything you've done so far is very meticulous, including your artwork. So has that rubbed off on your kids? Are they just as meticulous? Is your brother just as meticulous, or is this just a trait that you have that's just yours?
My brother is insane with vehicles. Um,
Mhm.
he could take a smash car and make it look brand new. He's got his talents. My daughter, creative in acting and even illustration. Um, Frankie has a mechanical knack like nothing I've ever seen. Josh has a lot of my Josh has a lot of what I'm going to call maybe not my best attributes, but they got me pretty far in life. So he's going to be okay. And Noah is the nicest, hardest working human being alive.
That's awesome. So they
Yeah.
all have gifts from you, like from your lineage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, dude. That's all you can ever ask. You basically have like the starter team, as kids.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah. It's, it's not, hey, dude, with 4 kids, it's not a non-bumpy road. I mean,
No, I can't imagine.
with 4 kids, there's a lot of, hey, we got to pull you back. You need to become in line a little bit. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's like this: you teach your kids right from wrong. You teach them how to be good people. All right. There's going to come a time when they're old enough to make up their own decisions and make up their own mind. And you only could hope that the good things that you instilled in them outweigh any of the bad that could come from it. And so they will make their own choices. As a parent, you never want your kids to sink. So you only let them go so far underwater, but they're going to have to get under the water a little bit so they know, this is a bad decision. I got to change what I'm doing here. You can't bail them out to the point of they never feel repercussion for a bad decision. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, they got to have some sort of consequence. You got to understand
right,
reality in
right,
life.
right,
Yep.
right.
I do the same thing with my son. I have a 10-year-old, and
Oh,
literally
perfect.
the last couple years has been, okay, you are telling the story that's not the truth because you feel like the truth is going to get you in trouble, but really the story got you in more trouble. So
Correct.
letting him feel the consequence of the action, but praising him and like giving him kudos for being honest about it, like owning up, like being a man, like manning
Oh,
up,
yeah.
own your stuff. And he's doing so much better with it. Like, I'm like, oh, dude, I love this. Like, I love watching that kind of grow. Like, it's
Yeah, and
super
that's
cool.
going to be the communication between you two will be honest communication, which is important. My dad used to tell me, he goes, if you lie to me, I'll never trust you again, and I'll make your life living hell. If you tell me the truth, you might get in trouble, but it isn't going to be hell.
Yeah.
And that's
Yep.
and that's what we did. And so, yeah, I got my brains kicked in a few times growing up because I was not exactly a non-mischievous individual. And so so I took the consequences, but I never
Yeah.
lied. Did you do that?
Yeah.
Yes, I did it. Okay, bam,
Yep.
you're grounded. You know what I mean? But I did it, so I took the consequences.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You're grounded, but your life ain't hell yet. That's
right,
that's
right,
that's the goal. Yeah.
right.
So,
Because if
all right.
my father, if he ever caught me lying, dude, I'd have broken bones for
Oh, dude.
real.
Right. That's another thing. It's very difficult these days to be the parent that I know how to be without being in trouble from other parents. I go,
Absolutely.
bro, I'm gonna come in. You're gonna come here, and it's gonna be hard to sit down for a while. Okay,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
gonna
hundred
spank that
percent.
butt until I get tired. And he's just
Yeah,
like, "Ugh," and all these other parents. I mean, I don't really do that. I give him like one good swat, and we're good to go. But all these other parents are like, oh my god, ugh.
how could you do that? My
Right,
dad's rule of thumb was pain and compliance. Are you kidding me?
right, man.
That's
So,
old
oh,
school.
yeah. Oh god. So I feel like kids got a little bit easier these days. I hear all these parents talk to them. Oh, let's talk about why are you feeling this way? Like, dude, he's acting up. That's just what
Right.
kids do. Correct them
100%.
and keep them moving. So, I'm not going to get on. We don't need to dive down that tangent. I'll get canceled. Real
I,
quick.
I could drive the train too, man. We'll both get canceled.
Yeah. So, last question before the question round. How did you feel about getting a picture of a dude with a dink bass and a mini skirt or a
Dude, that
kilt?
you won. You won,
Yeah, I
did
did.
you not?
Yeah, I did. I did.
I told Matt, I said, I don't care what other picture comes in, this dude wins.
Dude,
A
my kid
kilt.
was so weirded. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure he was, man. A
Dude,
kilt, a baby bass, and a boyo. Perfect.
yeah. Bro, it was so cold too. I was like, bro, this is well, my son, he was weirded out so for the next year following that, like anytime I would bring up my buddy Andy Dwyer, my son would be like, the guy who wears the dress. I'm like, yeah, the guy who wears the dress. That's my buddy.
Outstanding.
Oh, it's so funny. All right, so we're getting into the question round. The depth of these questions is as deep as you want to go with them. I just kind of put them out there. But what do you? Is there a difference between spirituality and religion, or do you feel there's a difference between spirituality and religion? Your opinion?
I think spirituality is what I think spirit. Okay, this is gonna. I don't know how to phrase this. For once, I'm at a loss.
Sorry
Okay,
about that. Yeah,
religion is the rules.
there we go.
Spirituality is the belief.
There you
Okay.
go. I
Um,
like that.
I'm a very. I would say I'm a religious person, but what I really mean is I'm a very spiritual individual. Like
Got it.
like I believe that, you know, if you live well and treat people well, it comes
Mhm.
back to you. Like my biggest thing is the world would have zero problems if everyone had just obeyed the 10 commandments.
Absolutely.
The 10 commandments, nothing else, 10 little rules.
Mhm.
This place would be impeccable. And
Absolutely.
so I kind of live by that. Now, you know, not saying you never make a mistake, but I
Oh,
live
hell
like
no.
that.
No.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
no.
But I live like that. Like I'm just a person. I'm not judgmental. I don't um I'm very easygoing. If you treat me good, I treat you good. You treat me bad, you're out.
Yeah.
That's
No,
pretty
I
much
get it.
how I work.
I had a buddy on here and he said, dude, we are all just spiritual beings having a human experience. Like that's all it
Yeah,
is, you know? And I was
straight
like,
up. Yeah.
that makes really a lot of sense. I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. I trust me, I am by no means the poster child for my faith. Not at all. I swear I do all sorts of dumb stuff. I'm a jerk off for sure. But at
Yeah,
the end of
dude,
the day, like
nobody is, or we'd all be on a cross.
right,
That's all I'm
exactly.
gonna
You
say.
know, exactly. Oh, exactly.
We
Okay.
wouldn't even need a
So
boat, dude. We could just walk out there and catch them.
yeah. As I was to say, live scope is a pair of flip flops and a beard, you know?
Hmm.
So,
That's
all right.
right.
So, spend a day with anyone. And I'm not talking about just fishing. You could do whatever you want. Spend a
Oh my
day with
gosh.
anyone. Who would it be?
Wow. I'll take my dad back.
That's awesome. Yeah. Just guys, just hang out and have a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Biggest fear.
Physical, emotional, physical.
Biggest fear. We'll get to the emotional stuff, but
Oh
biggest fear.
crap. Okay, heights. Fear of heights.
Heights. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. I really don't like small spaces and spiders. And I did HVAC for years, so yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna say bad career choice.
Yeah, it was a suggestion by an ex of mine, whatever. Anyways, and it was like a panic attack every day. I just assumed that I was not going to come home from work every day. I was just like, all right, I'm going to die
Perfect.
somewhere under here. This house is going to fall, and I'm going to be here forever.
Yeah,
So,
small spaces and spiders, they kind of go
yeah,
hand in hand.
exactly. All right. Broke because of fishing. Have you ever been broke because of fishing? I feel like you haven't, but some
Yeah,
people have.
well, I won't say broke. I would say tough spot. Um, in the beginning, it was a tough spot. And to be honest with you, I was probably going to have to bail on it for a while.
Mhm.
But then OSI came through, and then all my other sponsorships started falling in line. If I didn't have, no, I wasn't broke because of fishing.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. It was just one of those. Also, you're one of the first people. I have a few more coming, but you're one of the first people that's ever had like the Bassmaster experience on here. So that question was really like, I was like, man, I wonder if he's ever been broke, like just out
I
there
mean,
trying to grind.
I struggled. I mean, I struggled for a while where I really had a budget and I really couldn't go over it. And I borrowed my buddy's gas card to get home one time. Of course, I gave him mine to get home one time. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I mean, there
Mhm.
were struggles for sure. But with a wife and 4 kids, I had to make sure that the household came before everything. And
Yeah.
so I was always scrambling to fish.
Yeah.
So,
Got it.
but I wouldn't let myself go broke. I know a lot of my friends went bankrupt trying to
Yeah.
do this. Yeah.
Hmm. All right. What's your biggest struggle right now?
Oh my God. My biggest struggle right now is just trying to keep being better.
Hmm. Trying to be better yourself one day at a time. Be better than you were
Well,
yesterday.
yeah. Well, when I mean that, what I mean by that is to do everything, to do better, do a better podcast, make better lures, make better colors, make just to keep improving, to keep moving forward.
Got it, dude. I love that. That's such a healthy struggle. Like that's so good. Um, by the way, you're kicking ass on the podcast, so
Oh,
you could coast for the next 2 years. You'd be all right. All right.
okay.
Yeah. Ma- Major life accomplishment, like your life hammer. Like before I got into fishing, I was in skateboarding a lot, like very deep in skateboarding, and they call these things hammers, which is like you jump down 20 stairs on your skateboard. Nobody else has done that. That's a hammer. So, what can you say as your major life accomplishment or your life hammer, like something you can beat your chest on and be like, I did that, and be proud of yourself for it, not having like a full head, like genuinely being proud of yourself.
I gotta say, making a couple Bassmaster classics.
Oh yeah.
Um, I would group everything I'm doing today. I
Mhm.
would group all that up to just the lures and the podcasts and everything else. But that's not one event. That's a bunch of events. Um,
Yeah.
the biggest thing was making the classic. My first one was a holy shit moment. My second one was, this is so awesome. Even though they both were awesome. Um, you know, just the whole, just that, because I always wanted to make one. I wanted to win one too, but I didn't get there yet. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
or
Well, like you said, there's always time. You could always jump back in.
yeah, no, that's not
Yeah.
happening.
No, that's awesome, dude. That is far above and beyond almost everybody that I've talked to. What life accomplishment. You know what I'm saying? Getting that far in
Yeah,
something
I
that's
mean,
just an experience.
I mean, I didn't put it. I put the classic above my win and Angler of the Year win, but the classic was so cool. That
Mhm.
was just such an experience.
No kid at a pond anywhere is going, yeah, this one's for red crest. Like everybody's like sitting there playing over like this one's for the classic, like no offense to MLF, I got nothing against them, like I'm literally neutral, I could care less, but I can tell
Oh
you
shit.
without a doubt.
That's
I'm just saying.
that's by far the funniest thing I've heard in a long time.
I'm
Oh
just
my
saying,
god,
so
this
yeah, dude,
one's for
that's
Red Cross.
I'm just saying.
Oh
um
shoot, that's so
yeah, that
good,
is
man.
an awesome accomplishment. Sorry. Have you ever learned a lesson on the water that you've been able to implement in your life?
Yeah, actually, I have. That's to keep grinding it out. Even when things get tough and you think there's no way out, you keep grinding because I've had tournaments where I had absolutely nothing going and couldn't put anything together, and then during the tournament everything clicked and wound up getting out of there with a top finish.
That's awesome. Yep.
Yeah, so
I
I
mean,
would say keep grinding it out.
That's solid. I'm trying to teach my kid that now. Like he can set a fence post, but he can't set 20. Like he'll set 1 or 2 and he'll be like, all right, I'm done. I'm like, no, there's a whole bunch more we gotta do,
Right.
buddy. Keep
We got
going.
there's one and
Yep.
there's one and there's another one.
Yeah. But once it's all up, you're gonna be stoked. It's just I'm not everybody, I'm not promoting child labor. I'm saying that I have a child and I do labor, and when he's in trouble, he helps me, just like my dad did for me. So
Same here.
there you
Same
go.
here.
Yeah. Biggest mental or emotional block for you? Like, is there a shutdown switch for you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. If I don't get outside, if I don't get outside, I can't create anymore. I can't. I have to go fishing in order to free up to create.
Love it. I love that. All right. This one I'm throwing in there just for you. Smallmouth or largemouth?
Spotted bass.
Ooh.
I threw that in there.
Yeah. Dude, come to Cali. They're all everywhere.
If
right
you
now.
only give me 2 choices, smallmouth.
Okay. All right. Yeah. But you're a huge spotted bass fan. I didn't even.
I love them, dude. I love
That's
them.
awesome. All right. So where does fishing for you fit into all this now? Do you still go out and just turn off the cameras and enjoy some time on the water for yourself? Okay.
Oh
cool.
yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm never making fishing my job again.
Cool.
Even though it is my job. I'm never making it the job. It's always going to be for enjoyment for me when I go out and film. It's the challenge to get it done. These are the pattern. This is the bait. We're going to get it done. It's not going to be, oh, catch one and, oh, wait, I got to film this bait. Oh, here, look, I got one with this one. Oh, wait, this bait. I don't ever do that. I don't do it. I won't do it. We won't get a video. I just won't do a video. You know what I mean? I don't play that game.
I've never understood why people do it. I'm sure that there's they don't want to get in trouble with somebody or not.
Sponsor pressure.
It's just never made sense.
Yeah.
I don't. So, yeah. All right.
Dude, when I won Buffalo, I won it on a non-Pradco bait.
Oh.
I was using a 4-inch Yum Dinger, which clearly Pradco makes, but I was also using a Poor Boys darter, and I said it emphatically. I won't lie. I never lied about it. If I wasn't using a sponsor product and someone asked, I tell them what I was using. I do the same thing. On the podcast, I talk about a million different brand baits because I use them. So if I use them, I'm talking about them. You know what I mean?
And honestly, I feel like that's so beneficial for you to be out there using other lures, because then you can start kind of compartmentalizing or breaking down each lure individually and be like, what facet of this lure can I add to this? Like my buddy Andrew, he wanted to know specifically Smithwick. He's all, dude, I got to get some sort of rogue tips. And I was like, I'll ask him if he's got any tips for rogues, but we'll wait for the end. But we'll keep that.
I have some tips for rogues.
Hell yeah. We'll earmark that because we're almost done here. Tell us one thing that nobody knows about you, like a window into who you are, you as a person, like the child, whether the child inside or just the man today, like something that nobody knows. But you're married, so she knows everything, but
allegedly.
Dude, my wife knows everything. That's why I'm so stupid all the time.
Yeah, same here. It's here in life. You're going to find out a couple of things. Your kids are going to turn between 15 and 17 for you to realize how stupid you are. And the other part of it's going to be you're going to be married for 20 years before you realize how stupid you are.
Yep.
Anyway, so what was the question again? What does somebody not know about me?
One thing that no one knows about you, just like a window into who you are.
I don't know.
All
I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's all good. No, it's all good. I'm like, hey, that I don't know as an answer because honestly, if people ask me, I'd be like, I don't know. I pick my nose when I drive sometimes. I don't really know how to answer that question, like whatever.
Yeah, I don't
So,
know how to answer that question.
so the last question is a 3-parter.
Oh boy.
What do you do for these things? Hydration, diet, and mental clarity.
Okay. Hydration, water, but I'm terrible at it. If I'm on the boat, I'm great at it
Yeah.
because I learned fishing that heat stroke is not fun and dehydration is not fun. So I used to do like 4 bottles of water and 1 bottle of Gatorade, and then go back on water. Mm, Not that I don't want a Gatorade sponsorship down the road, but I found out that just drinking the water is better. The other thing is, my problem is I'm a coffee drinker. Coffee dehydrates you.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, I like having a few beers. They dehydrate you.
Yep.
So if you have a few beers at night, couple cups of coffee in the morning, you're starting the day off completely dehydrated. You
And your
need about
bladder's full.
and you need about a gallon of water just to break even.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so you'll never get there. So if you're going to fish in the extreme heat, you have to be diligent. Either you don't drink any beer at night and you drink water, because then you get hydrated. By the time you wake up, you're already hydrated. And then if you have 1 cup of coffee, you got to drink like 3 bottles of water to neutralize the dehydration from the coffee.
Yep.
But I'm bad about that because I drink coffee too. The other part of the question was what again?
Diet and mental clarity.
Okay, so diet, I eat as much natural food as I can. If I catch it or shoot it, I eat it. If I go to the store, the first thing I do is look on an ingredient. If there's more than 3 or 4 things, I don't even buy it.
That's
If I can't pronounce it, I won't buy it.
Right. I'd be screwed right there. Like it says flour.
Well, yeah, but here, look. So my weakness in junk food is potato chips.
Ooh,
That's
solid.
my weakness. Okay, like I love them, and so there's the kettle chips that I eat. The ingredient is canola oil, potatoes, salt.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
it. That's the only thing that's in it. So that's what I'll get. I eat almonds. I crush almonds, and I was getting wasabi and soy sauce almonds, which are freaking banging, dude. Dude,
Yes,
they're
they are.
banging.
Oh,
So I read the ingredients, and it's like this long of ingredients, and I'm like, what the fudge? So I said, okay, I'm gonna just go plain almonds, and the ingredients are almond.
yep.
and so that's what I do because I just can't. I'm not a health freak. Okay, I'm not a health freak, but I
Me neither.
want to be healthy because I haven't done enough in life yet, and I want to make sure that I could keep doing it. And so that's that. Mental health. What was this? That was the last one.
Mental clarity. Like
mental clarity. Okay.
Yeah.
Mental clarity only comes when you're rested and you're focused. If you have a lot of things going on, I write stuff down everywhere. I have notes all over the place because I write things down. If I write it down, I could go to sleep at night. If I don't write it down, I think about it all night. Then I can't sleep. Then I wake up in the morning and I'm dead ass tired. And then I can't think clearly during the day. And so I have these little tricks I do to make sure that when I go to sleep, I'm clear headed to go to sleep. Then I sleep and I wake up clear headed. If I go to sleep with a lot of stuff on my mind, I'm up 20 times a night, can barely sleep, and it's a brutal cycle. It's a brutal
Yeah.
cycle.
No, I can relate to that. I own multiple businesses. I am always on the move, and I got the 2 kids, and I'm not the
Yes.
perfect husband, so there's always an argument or something going on. I've done something wrong. I will admit it. It is not her. She is solid. Like every now and then it's her, but for the most part, she's solid. And I've done something wrong. So my brain, come time for sleep, I can relate to that one.
Yeah, you fight it.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I got to do this tomorrow, and I got to do this tomorrow, and then she's mad about this. I got to change this, and all the kids, and and yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
why I write it down. I write it down.
I love that. I'm gonna write. I love that. I'm a big list maker, anyway. So that is, I'm definitely gonna look into that. Thank you.
Hey,
Now we're gonna pull that earmark question out, because what is an episode with having you on without Ashley asking you one question about what you would do or how you would use your Smithwick Rogues coming this season? And my buddy who asked me is actually from Ohio, so
oh,
that will help him better.
Yeah. So the biggest, like, just to flat out fish one.
Should I turn like Matt? So this is more comfortable for you, or
No,
I'm just kidding.
You got to be on your computer over here.
Oh yeah.
So,
I gotta be like.
yeah, there you go. All right, now, now I'm good.
Yeah.
No, the biggest mistake I see people make. There's two things understanding a rogue. The original suspending rattling rogue, and the pro rogue, and the perfect 10. They all have the same bill in them, except they're different sizes. The bills are different sizes. So if you grab, I wish I had one here. So if you grab the jerk bait like this by the back, and you put your thumb on the bill, and you just go like that, the bill will flex. Okay, it's a flexible bill.
Got it.
So 2 things. Most guys throw it on too heavy line. I literally throw it on 8-pound fluoro and 10-pound fluoro.
Oh wow, that's light.
Because there's 2 ways to fish it. Like you're having an epileptic seizure, or like you're barely moving it. And I'll tell you the reason for both. When you barely move it, what I do is I pull it down to get it down to depth. Then I pause it. I shake the rod tip, and then I pull it about a foot, just about that much. And then I stop it, pause it, and I shake the rod tip. So what the light line gives the bait, it's movement on its axis. The line's not hindering it.
Yeah.
That's what the light line does. All right. The effectiveness of the Rogue, it's such a great cold water jerkbait because it's very lazy and lethargic. All right. As the water starts to warm, a lot of people say, I quit catching them on the Rogue when the water starts to warm up. So when the water starts to warm up, I go to the perfect 10 and the pro Rogue. Okay. They're big body jerkbaits. Now I'm going to tear them. Pow, pow, pow. I pull them hard, and I pull them hard because the bill flexes and the bait goes all different ways. It doesn't run the same way. It's not a jerkbait like jerkbaits of today. If you pull them hard, they rip in a straight line like a crankbait. But if you take a Rogue and you pull that Rogue hard, the bill flexes and it goes all different ways. It never does the same thing twice. Those are the 2 triggering characteristics of the Rogue. And one technique you fish in extreme cold water, one technique you fish as the water starts to climb. So as the water starts to get above that 46, 47 degree mark, I'm going to get a tad bit more aggressive. If the water temperature hits the 50 degree mark, I'm massively aggressive and I'm using the giant Rogue because that's going to call them from a greater distance to come and get it.
Dude. Frank, thank you for that, and thank you for the tip. Like, I appreciate it.
Man.
I know I told you we weren't going to talk fishing, but
hey, you got to put a little in there. There is a fish in your logo for heaven's sake.
A fish with the mustache and the Groucho marks. Yeah. Yeah, there's a book called the mouse and the red ripe, or the red ripe strawberry and the big giant bear or whatever, and this mouse is like trying to pick a strawberry and hide it from this bear or whatever, and they put the Groucho Marx glasses on the strawberry, and my daughter, she's almost 2, she's always daddy every time.
Outstanding. That's good.
So when my buddy, my tattoo artist was like, I was like, I'm looking for a logo, like kind of a fish with like my face on it, just something funny. He came up with this. I'm like, okay, everybody just knows me as big nose, mustache, and glasses. Great. I'm just gonna run with it then.
You might as well, dude. Don't fight it. Don't fight it. It could be an icon.
Well, yeah, I just can't use my Instagram handle because I'll get a cease and desist order. But dude, thank you for coming on, dude. I really appreciate this. I'm gonna put you in the green room in a second, but please shout out everything that you're doing right now, where people can find you, and how they can get a hold of you if they have more questions.
Okay. My Instagram is Scalish_fishing. You could DM me. I'll answer you right back. I'm really good about it. I answer all of them, usually the next day. And you could watch me clearly on BTL Day 4. You could watch me there. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. And if you're curious what he's doing, go over to the Pradco website, go to lurenet.com, and you can see some of his videos and some of his information. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And if you want to buy something over there and you want a discount, capital BTL 25.
Perfect. Dude, Frank, thank you. I'm going to throw you in the green room real quick, and I'm going to close this thing up. And I will attest, he does answer DMs. He has answered my DM every annoying time that I've hit him up about going to Columbus Expo. I have bugged this man like nobody's business. So,
that's how we're doing this now.
Yeah, no, man. So thank you. I really appreciate you again.
Thank you for
go ahead and wave yourself off. Dude, thank you. Everybody, that was Frank, and that's a look into Frank Scalish's life. If you guys have any more questions, he left his info there for you. I just want to say, if you've listened this far, thank you so much for just listening to the show. I know it's not your normal fish talk by any means. I appreciate every single one of you that reaches out. So thank you for all of that. I do have that element code, the LMNT. If you are looking for an electrolytes beverage or just an electrolytes additive to your water, it will. I can attest. I've put a lot of crazy things in my body over the years, and this is one thing that has changed my mental state on the water in long days. So thank you, Element, for partnering with me for this. And thank you to the boys over at Kayak City for allowing me to do this and just helping your boy out whenever I need it. Other than that, guys, I just want to say thank you.
What's up, everybody? Wolf from Walmart. We're back, baby, again.
Not a bad fish right there, guys.
No.
Out here catching fulsome bass right now, dude. Woo, he's a little chunker.